Ah, The Green Mile. This one's an emotional roller coaster. It's got that classic mix of supernatural mystery and deep human connections, all wrapped in a prison drama that hits you right in the heart. If you're ready, I'll walk you through this unforgettable story, and trust me, by the end, you'll be thinking about life, death, and everything in between. So, the movie is set in the 1930s, during the Great Depression, mostly taking place on death row at a prison, which they call the Green Mile because of the green linoleum floor leading to the electric chair. The story is told in flashbacks by Paul Edgecomb, played by Tom Hanks, who was a prison guard on the mile. As an old man, Paul is looking back on one of the most incredible and haunting experiences of his life. The core of the story kicks off when a new inmate arrives, John Coffey, played by the amazing Michael Clarke Duncan. Coffey is this massive, towering black man accused of a horrific crime, the murder of two young girls. But there's something off about this whole situation because Coffey, despite his size and the crime he's accused of, is gentle and soft-spoken. He's got this childlike innocence, and it doesn't take long before Paul and the other guards start to realize that Coffey might not be what he seems. John Coffey has a gift, a supernatural gift. He can heal people, literally by touch. There's this incredible moment where Paul, who's been suffering from a painful bladder infection, is cured by Coffey. Coffey just grabs him and, after a few moments of intense energy flowing between them, Paul is completely healed. This is when Paul starts to realize that maybe Coffey isn't just innocent, he's something miraculous. Now, while Coffey's on death row, there's a whole cast of characters around him. There's Brutus Brutal Howell, one of the kind-hearted guards who's Paul's close friend, and then there's Percy Wetmore, a sadistic, arrogant guard who enjoys tormenting the inmates. Percy is the worst. He's connected politically, so no one can get rid of him, and he does some truly horrific things. Like, when it comes time for one of the executions, Percy deliberately sabotages it, causing unimaginable pain to the prisoner. That scene is rough to watch. It really shows the cruelty of the death penalty. One of the film's most emotional arcs involves an inmate named Edouard Delacroix, who befriends a little mouse named Mr. Jingles. This small, tender connection Del has with the mouse is one of the few bright spots in the bleakness of death row, and Coffey even saves Mr. Jingles from dying at one point, showing his healing powers once again. As we get deeper into the story, Paul becomes more convinced of Coffey's innocence and his almost divine ability to heal. But here's the kicker, Coffey doesn't try to escape his fate. In fact, he welcomes it. There's this deeply moving scene where Coffey explains that he's tired of all the pain in the world. He feels everything, the suffering, the hatred, the violence, and it's just too much for him. He's like this living conduit for all the world's sadness. His final moments are some of the most heartbreaking scenes in the movie. Even though everyone around him knows he doesn't deserve to die, Coffey doesn't fight it. That scene where they prepare Coffey for execution, and he asks not to have the hood placed over his head because he's afraid of the dark, it just breaks your heart. You can see Paul, Brutal, and the other guards struggling with what they're about to do. They know they're about to kill an innocent man, but the system, the circumstances, they're powerless to stop it. And that's the real gut punch of the Green Mile. It's not just a story about death row or miracles, it's about the deep injustice and cruelty of the world, and how sometimes even the most miraculous people can't escape that cruelty. The movie leaves you questioning everything about morality, fate, and the human capacity for kindness in a world that can be so harsh. In the end, Paul lives a long life, but he's burdened by what happened on the mile. He's haunted by the fact that he was part of something so wrong, and it's implied that Coffey's healing powers somehow extended Paul's life unnaturally. Paul's story is one of regret and reflection, carrying the weight of John Coffey's life and death with him for decades. So yeah, The Green Mile is a movie that sticks with you. It's heavy, for sure, but it's also filled with these moments of beauty and humanity, Coffey's gentle nature, the bonds between the guards, and even the strange, almost magical connection between a man and a little mouse. It's a masterclass in storytelling that leaves you emotionally wrecked, but also deeply thoughtful.